So the lug nuts that we have on here happen to be 3/4. We broke them loose before we jacked up the truck. That's why they spin nice, easy. They were not that loose on the truck. That would make it a little bit silly. And we are doing a brake job on a 93 Ford Ranger. This is the XLT model, as you can see on the body decal. It is a king cab, 2-wheel drive. I will tell you that the life my dad has owned this truck, that it has had many a time he's come home with the wrong parts from the store. So I would say check your VIN numbers when you're ordering your parts, especially if you're shopping online, and or take off your old parts and get pictures of them first before you bring home new ones. Because even the videos we saw of this online showed a 2-piston caliper with a pin slide, and this is, as you will see in the video, a single piston caliper with almost a cotter pin design. No 13 or 15 millimeter bolts holding anything on. There's just these two slides that hold this caliper in place.
Compression pins.
And we'll give you better views here in just a wee little bit. So we're going to take the brake cap reservoir and we're going to loosen it up and just loosely set it on top so no debris falls into it. But the reason we're going to do that is because when you compress that piston back, you want to have room for the brake fluid to move back up into that reservoir so you don't create unnecessary pressure in the lines and damage your brake lines. So the tools that we needed for this brake job are a couple of flathead screwdrivers, a hammer, and a brake compression tool. The hammer and the screwdriver are to kind of pry out those compression pins, and the brake compression tool is to make sure that you compress the caliper. We also have some brake lubricant to keep the pins from rusting out further. Because our brake pads did not come with new hardware, we have some brake disc quiet to keep the vibration noise down. And then these brand new pads, which you'll see when compared to our old ones, are a lot beefier. All right, so we are using a screwdriver to push this cotter pin out. You probably want a screwdriver that you don't particularly care for. This compression pin right here is in here pretty tight. It has not had any lube or grease on it. I should call out that we are backyard mechanics in the sense that we are not ASE certified. This is a do it at your own risk. By all means, do not attempt something that you are going to get stuck and have to tow your car away on. But if you try this at home, make sure that you have the tools necessary to put it back together the way you took it apart. We did not get new brake hardware with this. Quite frankly, when we got the truck, the brakes were in the passenger side seat. My dad had intended to do them. He never was able to get to it, and he was right that they needed to be done. So as you can see, Dennis is just tapping back and forth, making sure he's hitting each side of the brake pin, and you'll see that it's a one-piece assembly, but it does have like a molded injected, I don't know if it's a polyurethane or a plastic or a rubber seal between it that keeps it together, that keeps it nice and tight. So we want to make sure that we don't damage anything coming through there. You should see him reach around the back and pull that out here shortly. And if you hold that still, I'll focus on that. Slow rotate. So the reason I'm going to put the lubricant on it is not so that it slides in or out, it's just to keep anti-corrosion down, because as you can see, it sits in that metal on metal and it will wear over time.
I believe this part was on the bottom. So you can see the grooves right here?
Yep. It's the part that sandwiches tacos. See the little V slot right there. All right, now that we've got both of these pins out of their respective homes, we are going to wiggle this caliper back and these brake pads back. Being careful, do not mar the surface of your rotor, especially if you intend to reuse your rotor, because once you have divots and grooves and lines in your rotor is no longer viable.
I'm just grabbing right under the pad. Be careful not wire that rotor up.
And he's just working the top to the bottom. Took us a couple minutes on the other side to get it to where it would wiggle enough. There. In other videos where people tap and pry and whatever, but just usually found the back and forth method works. So if you look at that front pad, let me get a good video of that front pad. It is very, very, very low. That piston, you see how far out that piston is? This piston right here,
Be flat.
it should be flat all the way back here, but that pad in the back.
Okay, let me grab the pad.
All right. There we go. See how just worn that thing is? There was almost nothing left. If these had anti-squeak pads, we would have hit the warning squeals. So now Dennis is gonna knock this old front pad loose. Just kind of pry the hardware out of the way.
Push. Take it off this notch. Push down. Take it off that notch right there.
And then he's going to put the back pad over the piston so that we have an even distributed. He's put that back pad on the actual piston itself. And he's going to use this brake tool to just kind of basically create a reverse pressure that's going to push in that caliper. And you'll see as he turns, that compression is going to evenly smush that piston back.
Yes, these gloves are terrible, but
Yeah, they're not a very thick metal glove. We got cheap ones last time. Note to self, invest in good, the right tools. Gloves are a tool to protect your hands. Slide it out of the way. Move the brake pad, and voila. The piston is compressed. Go ahead and pull your glove bits of materials out of the center of that. And we're ready to put the pads on. So Dennis is putting a little bit of disc brake quiet. It doesn't take very much on there. You don't have to use it. Some shops do, some shops don't. But back in the day, when we had our little Honda Civics, our little just smaller vehicles, we'd notice we'd go to the brake shop before my dad taught us how to do brakes, and we'd have brand new brakes with really annoying like growls, and we'd go, this doesn't sound right, and they go, oh, it's just your brakes vibrating. And then they'd say it's just brake dust, but what it is brake dust getting behind the pads as it wears in and creating a metal on metal friction. And so this basically becomes kind of like a rubber cement compound that keeps that from having noise.
this I gotta have you get around me.
Yep, so Dennis is gonna take that brand new pad, slide it right in the back. All right, so we had to stop and get a little bit of extra light. It got dark on us real quick, it's winter time.
Notches, slides right in place.
Notch top and bottom.
Right here.
Yeah, so there's obviously there's the pressure pin that you see, the big silver shiny piece. There's also a front and a bottom notch right here that Dennis is gonna line that up with. He's gonna push those over. And so it's kind of like a 4-point system to keep that pad in place. There's this bottom one, 1, 2, and then there's that top one. And once those are sitting in place, then you can put your caliper right back over the rotor, over that rear pad. That piston's been compressed all the way, so you should be able to wiggle it right over that pad and bring it down. Bring it down a little bit lower.
Line them up.
And that is it.
Almost.
Now we're gonna get some disc brake.
Even.
All right, show us one more time where.
Even.
And the reason that's gotta be even is so that your pins can line up and push in. So we're gonna lube those up with a little bit of anti-corrosion gel that we just have in a packet right here. It's just brake disc lubricant. You'll notice it says moisture proof, anti-corrosion, good for calipers or slide pins. It's not that we want these to be loose, it's that we don't want them to continue to rust. This truck is a 93, and this is 2026 when this is being filmed. So it's not like this thing just came off the factory line and all these parts are nice and shiny and clean. Nor do I think this truck probably had a lot of TLC in its lifetime before my dad bought it. And that was only in like 2022. So I think he found it parked on the side of my neighbor's blackberry bushes for like 10 years. No, true story. These things are like hard to kill. So they're lubed, and now we're just gonna put them back in. We've looked up this truck, and this 93 Ford Ranger basically has the brake hardware of an older 92 because it must have been early 93 manufactured. And so what we've seen is that there's not anybody telling us which direction these go, up or down. So we're gonna put the pins facing up.
Up on the top.
And then we're gonna put them facing down.
Because this part
is inverted on the bottom. And so that they're basically in the exact same way. And we're doing that just so the notch on either end has cleared the metal housing so that it doesn't pop loose.
What you want to try to do is put it in here.
So Dennis just tipped the end in to be able to try and get it in, and then it guided itself into its groove track and lined up the top and the bottom. He's gonna put it in about halfway and do the same thing at the very bottom so that we can get both pins started. So he's gonna get it in far enough to where that notch is close to hitting the bottom of the caliper, but not pushed through, which means that the notch on the other side will have cleared the metal housing as well. So basically will be notched to where that compression pin can't go forwards or backwards. This can take you a few minutes depending on having the right size screwdriver, all the above. You see there. See there, can't really see around the back, but if you use the braille method and feel with your hand, you'll see the pins all the way through, both top and bottom. And good to go. We're gonna put the tire back on and bring it back down.
Okay.
Something else to note is that there is a minimum and maximum line. If you can see, this truck is over the maximum line, so I'll probably use like a paper towel and just let it soak into the paper towel. And pull some of that out. Because the brake pads were so low, my dad was consistently filling it up, and now that we've put new pads on, the brake fluid is pushed up and it is extra full, and you don't want to overfill your fluids, folks. So no, don't want to be too low, but you definitely don't want them to be too high.